I don't claim to be a blacksmith. If you guys know anything better to do, please let me know in the description down there. If you like this kind of content, pound that like button, subscribe to the channel. And yes, behind me is a 1987 Buick Grand National. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. Well, you knew it was gonna happen sooner or later. We broke the Ventrac. Well, we really didn't break the Ventrac. I broke the Ventrac. I ran over a rock about this big that was buried up in the grass and could not see it with the finish mower. So we've got the blade on the furthest side of the finish mower and it's shaped like this now. So we're gonna pull this blade off. We're gonna try to beat it back straight so we can finish mowing the yard, and I'll show you how the Ventrac mower cuts. We'll have some fun here on the farm today. All right, woo!
I ain't afraid of work. I ain't afraid of play. I ain't afraid to get the job done and do it my own damn way. I ain't afraid of life, times like this. If you mess with my freedom, I'll tell you just what you can kiss. That's right.
So we're walking down here to the scene of the crime, me and you and the dogs. What happened was, on this farm, we call it the Stoney Ridge farm because there are a lot of stones, a lot of rocks around here, and they only stick up about this far out of the ground. But if you hook them just right with the mower blade, it'll pull them rocks right out of the ground, and that's what happened down here by the garden shed. Check it out. So this building here we call the honey shack. It's got all our beekeeping equipment in it, and you can see one rock buried up right here still, and there's a hole somewhere around in here. It's already grown back in, it seems like. Oh, there it is. There's a hole right here where this rock was. And this is the rock that I nailed with the Ventrac blade. And that is a monster of a rock. Really, I'm surprised I didn't damage the spindle when I hit that rock, but we're gonna show you how cool and how unique the Ventrac machine is with the cutting blade. In other words, it will raise up to where you can sharpen your blades without having to remove them. We're gonna have to pull this blade though. For all you folks that are wondering, that's an 86 Cutlass Supreme, 86,000 miles on it, and that is a 1990 454 Super Sport pickup truck. Both those vehicles we're probably gonna end up selling on the farm vlog. I don't know really for sure if we need to keep them or not. I love them, I like them, but Mrs. Stoney Ridge has my priorities elsewhere, like building a house. So everybody knows, don't confuse this with the Tough Cut. This is the finish mower for the Ventrac, and underneath here are the belts. There's simply an arm right here that you release the tension on the belts, and I've already had this thing up. There's a little blocker right here that keeps the hydraulic cylinder from extending and lifting the deck while you're mowing. So there are two pins you pull, one big pin over here, two little pins right here, and you just take the lever on the Ventrac and raise it up. Pretty cool. We'll show you how it works. We'll let the glow plug cycle on the Ventrac here. We'll fire it up. We got a little frost last night, so it was a little chilly. Contact. All right, we'll raise our lift all the way up, just like so, and then we'll hit our hydraulic control. And that gets us all raised up where we can work underneath the Ventrac. So we'll leave it up just like this while we work on it. I bet your zero-turn mower won't do that. That is super awesome. This is a 72-inch deck. This is a finish mower. Basically, you have three spindles underneath here. They have greasable fittings, and this big roller right here is a striper that comes on this kit. So in other words, I can stripe my lawn, which is super duper cool. Both of these blades are good to go, but this blade right here is not. We're gonna take it off real quick. I'll show you how bent it is. I whacked that rock pretty good. Busting out one of my favorite little tools in our arsenal. Guys, this is the new style battery with the old style DeWalt. So in other words, this is an adapter. I'll post a link down the video description to that adapter. Super duper handy. We're gonna be using some fun DeWalt tools on this job. Okay. Loosen this guy up. Lay this guy down. And here is our normal blade, and here is what we've done. Whoopsie daisy. Things like this happen. Sometimes you break stuff on the farm. So obviously this caused a problem over that. Nice pretty straight blade and not so pretty, not so straight blade. You can see the paint kind of flaked off of it a little bit. Very, very impressed. The part number's right here in case you need to replace the part. We called Ventrac this morning early and we ordered a new set of blades for this and a new set of blades for the Tough Cut brush hog. So Basically, my idea here is to take said big hammer and this makeshift anvil. So this is an old piece of railroad. Oh, and it is heavy, heavy, heavy. Listen to this thing. It's got a nice ring to it. So we're gonna take it and beat it out, and then we're gonna take our DeWalt grinder. I just bought this, super cool. So I can come out and sharpen the blades. Basically, it's a cordless grinder. While we've got the deck up in the upright position, we're gonna go ahead and hit those blades and give them a nice sharp edge so we can finish mowing. I don't claim to be a blacksmith. If you guys know anything better to do, please let me know in the description down there. If you like this kind of content, pound that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get busy trying to beat this blade out so that it doesn't scalp the yard. We'll probably go on and replace this blade if we can't get it straight, but for now, I gotta finish mowing the yard, and it's scalping real bad about that far down. My thought is to hit right out here and let it sit right on there. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna let it sit flat. This is gonna be interesting. This is a big bend. It's coming on out of there pretty good. Still pretty darn crooked. Let's try hitting it right here where the arc is on that bend. Might need to heat this thing up. Woo, that's hard on the old hand on this side. Tap, tap, tappy tap. Woo, it's a spring. Hope we don't have to go to the hospital after this. FYI, kids, don't try this at home. Woo! At some point, you gotta wonder, when is getting the lawn finished worth this amount of pain on your wrist? There we go. Now we got a little bit. Let's get it back here off the tailgate a little bit there. Oh yeah, that's better. Man, that's a strong blade. It's just springing back. Ideally, I'd put this in a vise and bend it back, but I don't have a very nice heavy-duty vise table to bend it. So in other words, I'd clamp that and give it a good tug and hopefully bend it back. I'm not so sure that this repair is gonna work for us. All right, we're getting serious. We got some gloves now. Now I can whack it harder. Oh yeah. Nice. Coming on back. It's coming back to me. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. This seems stupid. Man. Still got a nasty twist in it. That's what's right. And that's what we got. Ugh. It's not working without heat. I'm gonna have to get some heat, some sort of a heat source. I don't have a torch, so I do have MAP gas. I think we might heat it up with MAP gas, but I'm pretty sure that's gonna weaken the blade, and we'll most definitely have to replace that blade. I may make some phone calls and see if I can find a blade locally, because I ordered these blades and it's gonna take about 3 days to get in, and the grass needs mowing. It's really, really thick down in the orchard. Don't make me lie to you. I just went to my local hardware store, my local farm store, and asked the guys if I could go back in the back and put this on their vise and try to straighten it out a little bit. I'm having my doubts about being able to straighten this. This is a really, really tough piece of metal. It is a 5/8 thick, 25-inch right hand sling blade, I guess is what you would call it. So that's straight, and that's what we've got so far. Now we did straighten it out a little bit. That's exactly perfectly straight right there. We straightened it out just a little bit from what it was before. The next step, which they would not allow me to do with the vise, is heating it up. So I've got some MAP gas. We're gonna heat this little section up right here and see if we can pound this out. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to heat it up a little bit without damaging the blade. For sure, if we heat it up, we're gonna replace this blade after this time mowing. This is not the right thing to do. So don't do as I do, do as I say. Don't do this at home. Let's heat this guy up real quick. MAP gas burns a little bit hotter than propane, but unfortunately I don't have a acetylene torch here at the house. We're just gonna heat it up right here on the bend, and then we're gonna give it a good whack. right, let's give her a little tappy tappy tap. Once again. Oh, it looks to me like it's not working at all. Oh yeah, she's working. She's coming on out of there. Ah. Whew. Oh, rough on the hands. Oh yeah. It's not gonna go back perfect, but it's straightening out. The more I heat on it, the more it straightens out, and probably the weaker the metal gets. Heat it again. Heat it and beat it, son. Woo! Woo-hoo! This thing working the tar out of me, boy. Come on now. She's straightening on up a little bit. If I could just see that hammer jumping back and hit me in the forehead, then we can all go to the hospital together. Look at that. That's a... That's what it's supposed to be, and that's what it is. Woo, and that's hot. Through the glove, it's hot. I think this is where our mission stops. So we're gonna call that good enough to get the lawn mowed today, and then we'll put the new blade on when it comes in from Ventrac. Whew. We tried. We can't say we didn't try. This material, I'm just afraid I'm gonna weaken it. I don't want to heat it up really, really, really hot. I'm afraid I'm gonna weaken it. I still think it's going to do a great job. It was only scalping like this much when I was mowing a little bit earlier. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this thing does a great job. I've been riding this thing for one cut so far. So basically I've been on it for about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, something like that. Let me tell you, it is spoiling me completely rotten. So we'll get some drone images of what goes on, and hopefully, get your fingers crossed, we don't scalp the crap out of the yard. Cool. We're going to reinstall the blade, get on the mower, and cross our fingers. Before we get on the mower, I totally forgot. We've got a grinder here. We're going to go ahead and sharpen this while it's off of the mower. We're just going to put a little edge on it. We're not going to go grinding crazy on it, but we're just going to try and take off some of that rough stuff. And as you can see, I hit the rock right there too. So we'll grind off all that grit. Grind off that factory edge so it can rust for us. And we'll put it back on the mower, and we'll go ahead and sharpen up all the blades on the mower now. All right, we'll fire up the Ventrac and we'll lower our deck back down. It's really slow going down so it doesn't get damaged. This deck works is there's a hydraulic cylinder right here, and then there's a little lever that locks that in place to keep it from raising up. You push this down, and that is your belt tensioner. So it's easy to change belts. And basically, I think it's just one belt that runs through the whole thing. That's what it looks like. So you put that in, you lock this down, and then there's 2 pins that go right here on the little rotating apparatus, and then you close it up and you're good to go, ready to mow. So one of the coolest things about that finish mower is the striping. As you can see down through the yard, it's all striped up beautifully. It's super awesome. Whether it scalps this much or not, we're gonna go ahead and mow. Now you can see, and you'll see in the drone footage, you see this darker grass? Well, that's where the grass has gotten too tall over in the orchard area. So that's just something that we really wanna address. If it does scalp, it'll only scalp it for like 2 days, and I probably won't even be able to tell it next time I mow with the new blades. It'll do just fine. We're gonna pull off all 3 blades that have already been used, put 3 new ones, and keep the 2 spares. So I already told you I've been spoiled. I've been spoiled from the zero turn. So I have a John Deere commercial zero turn mower. In no way does it make my lawn look like this. You'll get some awesome shots from the drone about the striping of the lawn. It really, really looks awesome. And I can buy a striper for my zero turn also, but I can't sharpen my blades and tip it up like that. Let's talk about the severity of the scalp. You can see it scalping right there, and it's just because that blade's down about that much further than the rest of the blades. I don't think it's going to make a bit of difference at all. I think it's going to help with the striping actually. So we'll get busy. Check out this drone footage. It's going to be awesome. Beautiful. Let's put some cool music with it. Needless to say, the mower did a great job. I am at a stopping point because there is a huge honeybee swarm down in the orchard. So we're gonna catch that swarm real quick. This is what's going on. So sometimes you gotta drop what you're doing to catch a honeybee swarm. I can't really mow right up next to them, and we need to catch them because that bunch of bees is worth about 110, 120 bucks. We're gonna ride the gator down there to the honeybees, and I've got a couple buckets. I'm gonna put my bee suit on real quick, and the way we're gonna do this is we're just gonna put a hive. Basically, I've already got one prepared in the bee yard. We're gonna put that hive directly underneath this swarm. It is a huge swarm. I'm gonna say probably 5 pounds of bees. So a normal package of bees is about 3 pounds. This is probably close to double what a package of bees is, so awesome stuff. We're gonna go down here to the honey shack, and once again, grab another swarm of bees. That's the honey shack, garden shack. Right here is our honeybee swarm, and it is spectacular. It is huge. This is probably the biggest swarm we've had all year this year. That is a monstrous, monstrous swarm. Cannot wait to catch that. Gonna be cool. I'm just gonna set the camera up so you guys can watch. I'm gonna go get the bee box and set the bee box in the appropriate place, get the tripod all set up, and we're gonna capture this big old swarm. Let me tell you how this is supposed to go before we get started, if I can get these little bitty baby gloves on. What happens is when you work your bees, you sweat in your gloves. They're made out of a really soft leather, and they kind of shrink up a little bit on you. So these have shrinkage. That's pretty funny. There we go. They're like, they almost feel like spacesuit gloves. And this is a breathable honeybee suit. And these guys are my buddies, my bee buddies. So check out triadbeesupply.com if you need any honeybee stuff. Let's get them. This is a second swarm in this same tree in the last like 4 days. Our honeybees are swarming like crazy. And what a swarm is basically the old queen packs up and leaves and takes half the bees with her. So that means that my hives are very, very healthy, and they've got a huge nectar flow right now. So this is normal for spring. So the saying is, swarm in May, let them stay. Swarm in July, let them fly. So we're gonna let them stay. Man, I'd like to talk to you more about honeybees and honeybee swarms and what's really going on here. So right now you see a bunch of bees flying around. Well, these are little scout bees, and the scout bees are going out and coming back and going out and coming back, and they're looking for a new place that has a specific size to build their new hive. So that's what's going on. Somewhere in that bunch is the queen, and they follow her smell or her pheromone. So the pheromone from the queen is why they're on this limb. Pretty cool. Once we get the queen inside the bee box, which is going to be sitting on these buckets right here, then most of the bees should abandon this spot, smell that queen, and go right in the hive. And the honeybee's sense of smell is 10 times stronger than ours. So here's a box I already had prepared. I'm going to pop out a couple frames and we'll shake these bees down in here, or just scoop them up and set them in there. Really cool. Inside this hive is all sorts of yumminess in there for the bees. That's like a little snack for those bees. There's pollen, basically fermented pollen in those little chambers right there. Exactly what we want. Here it goes. We're gonna lean the tree over ever so slightly, and we're gonna shake. We've got a nice breeze blowing. I wanna wait till that stops. We're gonna shake them off. This is fun. 1, 2, 3. A lot of the bees ended up on the ground right there. It's not really what we wanted. So what will happen is all these bees, you can see them flying around me. If the queen is still on the limb, they'll go back to the limb. If she's not on the limb, we'll just continue to shake, shake, shake until we get them all off. This might seem scary to some people, but this is the most docile the honeybees will be, because they're in search. They're not in search of a fight, they're in search of a home. Pretty cool. There are a lot of bees around. Let's get the camera and go in the hive real quick. This is a cool surprise. So you can see down here, we kind of missed our mark with our honeybees with the swarm, but they're slowly working their way into this box. Now, if the queen was in there, I would anticipate the bees kind of all lining up and going in. I don't think I have the queen in here. You can tell by the sound of the bees kind of what's going on here. Really, really interesting. So if at first you don't shake seed, then shake again. The wind really has us messed up. When I shake the tree, the bees fall too far past the little hive we have right here. But anyhow, these bees will go in that hive eventually, and we'll have one more hive in the bee yard, which will make 6 hives. Pretty cool. Now that all the fun's over, we gotta wait probably an hour and a half, maybe 2, maybe tomorrow, before I mow this area. This grass was really, really high. I had let it go way too long, but the Ventrac kind of kicked butt. We've got a little bit more to mow out here, and we're gonna go get busy. What do you guys think about that drone footage? What do you think? Man, looks really nice. I think it looks better from the ground. Super happy with the mower. We did great today. We had a good time. We didn't quite get that blade fixed, but we've got 3 new blades coming. I'm gonna replace all 3 and take the ones that I've used already and have them as spares. I hope you guys enjoyed this fun on the farm. We had an unexpected bee swarm, which was pretty cool. The bees took to the hive. I already have the hive lined up with the rest of the hive, so we have 6 honeybee hives now, and we only started with 3 this year. That's 3 swarms out of 3 hives. Very happy with that. Catching a honeybee swarm like that's like finding a $120 bill on the ground. Awesome. Guys, be sure and stay tuned. We're going to get into the bees. We'll show you, we'll teach you about the bees, and we're going to get started on the garden. It frosted this morning. We are not out of the water when it comes to frost, so we've got to probably give it about another 15 days before we get into the garden, but hopefully we get our little seeds planted very soon. Folks, thanks a lot for joining me here on the farm today. I hope you had a good time with the farm vlog. I look forward to many more with you. So pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, click that bell icon. It'll notify you when I post a new video, and we can have some more fun here on the farm. All right?
We'll come down to the Stoney Ridge, bring your wife and bring your